Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. You're always welcome, but especially on a Monday, I want to encourage as many of you as possible to make this a regular part of your Monday afternoon routine, because every Monday we do what is called a master class on the Constitution of the Bahamas. And for those of you who are regulars, you should know by now why this is such an important show. But for those of you who are new around here, this is important because your Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it contains some rights that are due to you as a citizen of the Bahamas, but it also outlines your responsibilities. And it's not being widely taught in our schools. And I thought it was important to begin this series with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, who is a constitutional lawyer. And each week, every Monday, we go through the Constitution of the Bahamas so you as Bahamians can understand the weight and relevance of the document and how it can benefit you and the country as a whole. Now, another reason why I thought it's important to do this is because the language written within the Constitution can sometimes be a little difficult to understand. And so I thought it was important for us to have someone on the show on a regular basis who could sort of break it down for us and help us to get a more full understanding of what is contained in the Constitution of the Bahamas. So as we wait for Professor to come into the studio, I'm going to go ahead and put in the information about where you can find us. So let's do that. Okay, so we're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and the Global 99.5 FM pages. If you haven't already done so, beginning of the show, like and share the show. Also coming to you live on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. All one word. Look for Global Paradigm Shift. No spaces in between. That's where you can find my channel there. Speaking of channels, we're on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. And you can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and follow us there. The numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. So we're still waiting for Professor Thompson to make it into the studio. I can see where the seat is still empty, so we're waiting for Professor Thompson to arrive. So, in the meantime, I guess we can, I see he's arrived now, so just let him take his seat, and then we're going to bring him in onto the stage. So I've been hearing a lot of talk as of late about constitutional rights. And we see a lot going on as it relates to citizenship in the Bahamas. A lot of people getting citizenship from what appears to be some strange methods. Because if you go according to our Constitution, it's very clear on who is entitled to citizenship and the pathway that they should take to get said citizenship. But it seems that, I don't know, nowadays, anything buck up goes. You know the right people, and you could get yourself citizenship. At least that's how it appears. Professor Thompson is now at the desk. Professor, welcome to you this afternoon.
Ms. Malcolm, you touched on something I had right at the top of my tongue.
Is that right?
That is correct, yes. And some other things we want to continue to be left off last week. But
Okay.
The thing is, you mentioned, and good afternoon, Bahamas. It's good to be here on a Monday. Of course, you know Monday is Constitutional Day on Global Radio 99.5 FM with myself and Ms. Michelle Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a tremendous job with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And let me just say, we have already lost 50 years. The mere fact that the Bahamian people do not know or understand the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It has gotten to the point where Bahamians are beginning to wake up. This is an excellent opportunity now for us to look at how far have we come, if we have come anywhere, what national benefits have we gotten over the last 50 years. You talked about the topic of citizenship. It is a major national problem. There is no such thing as naturalization. You have many people who are, quote unquote, being naturalized. That ended in July of 1974. It only applied to people from the British Commonwealth, persons who were in the Bahamas and who were working here. Most of them left and their children left with them. They had the opportunity to apply to be naturalized in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and the Constitution is very specific to citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, what the government of the Bahamas is doing today is unconstitutional. That's the bottom line. It doesn't appear to be anything. It's what they are doing. And I tell people all the time, listen to what your government is saying. Check what they're doing. Is it constitutionally sound? We have a major problem right now where someone is trying to take care of Haiti. The Prime Minister has given some direction to the head of the Defense Force. Is that constitutionally sound? Is he supposed to give directions to the head of the Defense Force? See, these are things we need to think about seriously. Is he supposed to give direction to the commissioner of police. The commissioner say you don't take direction from no one.
They're supposed to be autonomous, right?
Pardon?
The
Oh yeah,
commissioner
they're
of police,
autonomous.
right?
Well, let's say the commissioner of police, because the Commander of Defense Force is not in the Constitution at all.
Okay.
He operates under statute law, so maybe he could give him some direction. The point is, with the Commissioner of Police, no.
Hmm.
The Commissioner of Police is an autonomous office, constitutionally set up.
Right.
The head of the Defense Force is not.
Okay.
And we got to understand statute law, 1, constitutional law, 2. The Constitution is supreme. The Prime Minister or the person in the office of Prime Minister cannot take the national assets of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and do as he pleases with his own self. Those assets don't belong to him. You cannot just jump up today and say you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Where is the constitutional authority?
When you say assets, Professor, what do you mean?
The assets that belong to the Bahamian people. The police
Such
force is an
as?
asset. The
Okay.
defense force is an asset.
Hmm.
That's by the taxpayers' money, Ms. Malcolm and Bahamians.
Okay.
So the particular personality in the office, see, there's a difference between 1, office of Prime Minister, 2, the particular personality who may be in that office at any given time.
Hmm.
The office doesn't change. The personalities may change. So the personality comes in and I see it this way, I can do it that way. Unconstitutional.
Hmm.
Now, I heard the Defense Force officer said the same thing. He's waiting for direction. They even ain't sure what they're going to do. This is utter nonsense and foolishness. But this is the way the government of the Bahamas is functioning. And Bahamians, I'm going to tell you right now, you better wake up quickly because we have a limited period of time to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. If we
Why
want to
is
be
that?
like Andy,
What
I'll tell you
causes
why.
the limitation? Yeah, please explain.
We have a limited opportunity to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Hmm.
Right now, as I speak to you, in fact, today is December the 11th, we're in deep trouble in our country. The way the government of the Bahamas is functioning is a real issue for the Bahamian people. The Bahamian people must learn to understand you must correct the government of the Bahamas. You must correct the Parliament of the Bahamas. You must correct this. Well, the Parliament consists of Her Majesty the Queen. You notice we don't have no more Queen, right?
Hmm.
But the Constitution says Her Majesty the Queen, so I go in by what the Constitution says. See, the thing is, we are not even, and I'll just say this because I'm thinking of it right now. There's some things in our Constitution which have to be updated. That one about Her Majesty the Queen.
Right.
Through and through the Constitution. You can't change that with any statute law.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. When our Constitution was written, it was a different era, a different time. Much of what we're facing in the world today didn't exist back then. It was a different world.
I accept that. I accept
And
that. That is why the Bahamian people, we didn't do it over the last 50 years. We're in year 51. Conditions in the world have changed.
Significantly.
Significantly, yes.
Hmm.
Because I'm afraid that we're going to have some challenges that we may not be able to stand up under. Because there are some persons out there who are looking for an opportunity to do something, and then the Bahamian people are caught off guard because they don't understand the Constitution. The government of the Bahamas doesn't seem to know what they're doing when it comes to these serious constitutional issues.
Well, I can disagree with you on that. I think they know just what they're doing. But they're
Let's put it
banking
this
on,
way.
They're
See,
banking on the fact that Bahamians don't know the Constitution, and so that's
yeah,
why
but
they get
then,
away with it.
okay, that's a point of view you can express, and I hear that. But see, I happen to know better.
Okay.
If you know better and you're not doing better, Ms. Malcolm, that means nothing to me. That means nothing to the woman in Baintown with those 6 boys, the man in Fox Hill who got those 5 daughters. He's trying to find husbands for them. And he told me just yesterday he ain't find none yet.
Good luck.
The point is, if you have people in authority in your country, and as you say, they know better, but the Bahamian people don't know better. Okay, that's an argument you can put forth. But I am saying to the Bahamian people, if you have people in authority who are violating your constitutional rights, and the Constitution is strictly clear as the way the government of the Bahamas ought to function, and they're not doing it, then it's the duty of the Bahamian people to correct that government. Now, you can't correct them if you don't know. See, that's the problem. That's the dilemma we're in. Now, some people are waking up, and that's fine. That is good. And I am saying we have a very limited period of time to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas as we know it today. It could be something else very soon, quicker than you think. We can't take anything for granted. What happens if you have the Constitution being declared by some people null and void? We've seen this happen in countries around the world. They come in, they take over, Constitution out the window. You think that could happen here? I hope not. But if we sit back and allow the government of the Bahamas to violate the Constitution, we do nothing about it, what do you think is going to happen? The country's going to fall. And we are on a very slippery slope right now in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Well, one of the first things that dictators go for when they're trying to gain power without democracy is they attack the Constitution. They try to destroy the Constitution. That's one of the first things they do. Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening right now. And you hit the nail right on the head. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is a very strong, rigid, powerful document. It is for the salvation of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The people you send to do your national affairs, your national business, you got to know who you're dealing with. But you can't just sit back and let people do and act as they please.
Okay, let me put a pause in this right here. Let me ask you a very direct question. We see it all the time, where we see persons that because by law they have to put a publication they have to put a notice in the newspapers to say Joe Blow has applied for citizenship. And if anyone has any objection to this, then they need to reach out to a particular agency. The challenge is most people look at that and they don't give it a second thought as to what they can do. Mind you, they go elsewhere, they complain about it, they say, oh, we're being taken over, yada, yada, and this person came here illegally, yada, yada, yada. But they're not taking the steps required by law to challenge that person being granted citizenship. So if the powers that be aren't going to be responsible for doing the right thing in terms of not granting or not attempting to grant people who aren't eligible for the citizenship in the first place, whenever a Bahamian sees that notification in the paper, what should they do? And what according to our Constitution, how do they challenge that if they suspect that that person is not entitled to citizenship through a proper pathway?
No, that's a good question that you ask. I think it has reached a point where you have to challenge the government. You are going to have to take action against the government of the Bahamas because the government of the Bahamas is not acting constitutionally. That's the action that needs to be taken right here, right now. The point is the Bahamian people need to wake up and stop being so politically polarized, because you see, they still don't understand the difference between parliamentary democracy and party representation. All you do is listen to the conversation that people are having. Then you listen to these people who say they want to run the country. They know nothing about the Constitution. So you have a dilemma where the people, you don't have to stay in that position. You have to start learning. You have to start acting. I said to people, I started out very simply. I said, talk to the person right next door to you. Go across the road and speak to the people in front of you. Get to know the neighbors on your corner, on both sides. See, these are simple, basic, fundamental steps, which are constitutionally sound. You know why? Article 24(1) of your Constitution talks about the collective will of a people to bring and protect the interest, and the word interest is plural. Do the Bahamian people have any interest to protect? I asked the question on that particular street where all those big trees are growing up and people are complaining, oh, the Ministry of Works should come and cut the trees down or trim the branches so we could have some light in the night. The people on that particular street sit and complain about it, but do nothing about it. That's what we have become. We have become a nation of complainers when we have the power in our hand, and it takes, like I said, the collective responsibility. This matter is so huge now, where the government has been violating the Constitution for 50 years. You have to take action against the government of the Bahamas. There's a difference
but
between...
Professor, I know that you're covering in general what needs to happen on the whole, but I'm talking about a specific situation, which we see quite a lot now. Every week you're seeing these different people. So how does one specifically protest or take action to say, I have a problem because this person is not entitled to citizenship based on our Constitution? What are the steps to take to do that specifically?
Well, the thing is that you have to complain to the authorities, to your representative.
Okay.
Because that's how you to speak. But when the same representative you're supposed to speak to ignores you, what do you do then? When the government of the Bahamas ignores you, and I'm just drawing this illustration now because you can take that course of action. The question is, you have to ask yourself, what is the best course of action to take December 11th, 2023? The people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, yes, they can take a specific cause of action against that particular individual. You believe that that particular person doesn't qualify for citizenship, fine. No one is stopping people from doing that. They can do that. In fact, we need more people to begin asserting their constitutional rights. That's what we have been trying to get people to do from the time I came on this show months ago. Many months ago. I don't know how many months, it must be over a year now. But all I'm simply saying is we've had people sit and listen. You know what I tell these people who keep listening all the time? I say, what are you doing with the information? You know, one fella called me on the show and he challenged me, say, I need to do something, I need to lead a group or something like that. Mm-hmm. Now, that is his view. I'm not knocking him for his view, but I know better than he does. Professor Thompson knows what he is supposed to do when he comes here to educate the people on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on a Monday on Global Radio 99.5 between 2 and 4 and give them the facts as they are laid out in the Constitution. You cannot depend on any one particular personality to take it upon himself or herself. That's unconstitutional. Article 24(1) doesn't permit that. You see, when a person doesn't understand the Constitution, that person can say some things. I'm not going to get vexed with them or angry with them. I just simply say they don't know any better. And I leave it at that. Now, my job is to teach them better, show them better, help them to do better. So when I say to the person, speak to the neighbor next door to you, and I have more than 50 years experience without getting personal with people. The problem in our country is, and I see this just about every day, people are too personal with each other. They get into people's personal affairs. And I ain't gonna say too much about it. I can leave that just like that. But I say to people, you could get to know, and I've known husbands and wives for decades. They ain't telling me they were husband and wife. I didn't bother to find out because that's a personal thing. But I'm very friendly with the husband. I'm very friendly with the wives. And for decades it has been that way. Never, ever once got personal with them. And I have a good working relationship with the people. But it takes more than Professor Sidney, MacArthur, Walter Thompson to bring change in this country. Do people understand that? What are you doing out there in your local community? Are you communicating with them? Are you sitting at the table texting? Is that what you're going to do? There's no voice communication. You have to know people, Bahamians.
So does it take more than one person then to protest against what
No.
they believe is the case?
No.
Okay, so if
No.
I decide today, if I see something in the paper today where somebody is about to be quote unquote naturalized, even though, like you said, our Constitution does not
It doesn't allow for
allow
naturalization,
that. Right.
period. That
But-
ended
but
in
yet-
July
but
of
yet-
1974.
But yet I see in the paper where Joe Blow has applied to become a citizen of the Bahamas, and the notification says if anybody has any objection, they should do what? How do I specifically object to that particular person, Joe Blow? Because I know that Joe Blow does not qualify for citizenship based on what our Constitution says. What is my next step to stop
You
Joe
then-
Blow from getting that? Because going to your MP, like you say, if the MP lousy, then there's no guarantee the MP is going to respond. Meanwhile, Joe Blow's application is progressing, moving forward, because it appears that nobody is objecting to Joe Blow's application.
Yes,
So-
and you have the Department of Immigration. You have the Minister
now
of
we're getting
Immigration.
somewhere. Now we're getting
Yeah,
somewhere. So-
but the point is, what I'm saying, Ms. Malcolm, is this, right? There are things. Well, let me get right back up a bit. Representation in the House of Assembly. That is very serious business.
Mhm.
But we're not getting constitutional parliamentary representation. I don't get that in my constituency. I don't get that from my representative.
Right.
I never had it with the one that's there now. All I'm simply saying is, yes, you can do that. You can approach the Immigration Department. You can approach the Minister of Immigration and lay your facts on the table. This is the reason why. That doesn't stop anyone from taking that course of action. And they should. If we have enough of us start doing it, I think it will argue well for the safety and security of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. But if Professor comes here every Monday, and he's committed to coming, as long as the Lord allows me to live, and I ain't going nowhere now, the point is that you're getting valuable information that is constitutionally sound. The question is, are you acting on it? You know, I tell people to call me if they're not sure. The same gentleman who called into the show and said, I need to do something, I gave him a challenge. I haven't heard from him yet. The point is, this is what people say. They just shoot off things, but are they prepared to work? Because I'm going to tell you, the country is in very serious trouble. We are in a very difficult time now because we have some serious national issues that need to be resolved. And it's going to take the collective will of the Bahamian people to make it happen, to bring the change that is so vital and so important. But if you're going to get hooked up with party representation as opposed to parliamentary representation, I always use the analogy since Barnabas Church and people working to BDC. When you go to BDC, you don't tell the man I'm a member in Barnabas Church. That's not even an issue. The point is, we got a problem when it comes to parliamentary, constitutional parliamentary representation, as is spelled out in the Constitution, Article 54(1). People got to learn to understand. This is the supreme law.
We have to take a break, Professor. When we come back, let's look at specific articles within the Constitution, which we started to do last week. I know you said you wanted to look at 63, I believe it was, that we never got to.
No,
all right. So let's look at 63 when we come back. All right. We're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to specifically look at Article 63 of the Constitution, break that down for our audience to help them to better understand what it means, what it says. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, pinch, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We're looking at the Constitution on this Masterclass Monday. Here's how you can get involved in the show. If you have a question, the telephone numbers to call are 3260271. That's 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show if you haven't already done so. Also coming to you live on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift. All one word, no spaces in between. We're on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. You can check us out there. Or you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and take us wherever you go, 24/7. Last but by no means least, a huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in from Radio Land, whether it is here in New Providence, Grand Bahama. Hey, Grand Bahama, I understand we have a large and growing audience there. Throughout the country and around the world, welcome to GPS on this Masterclass Monday. So, Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is a constitutional lawyer, and every Monday he seeks to help us to understand better what is contained in the supreme law of the land, aka the Constitution of the Bahamas. Now, Professor, I know you've been saying.
Okay, let me just make this point. I want you to read that article where it talks about the executive authority of Her Majesty the Queen. Who has the executive authority? One sentence, but it's very potent, very powerful.
Do you
I think that's
remember
around 1771.
Okay.
The executive authority of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Okay.
Then we can go to
63. Okay. Now, while I'm looking for that, why
that's around 1771.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
Oh, you're pulling it up. Okay, all right, okay.
Why do you think it's important to single out 63 while I look for 71? I found it.
When you come to it, you'll see why.
Okay, so chapter.
But deal with the one with the Her Majesty the Queen.
Yeah, I'm about to read that now. Chapter 6, the executive. That's what chapter 6 covers in the Constitution.
Okay.
So 71:1 says the executive authority of the Bahamas is vested in Her Majesty.
Her Majesty the Queen.
It just says in Her Majesty.
Okay. All right.
Number 2, 71:2 says subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the executive authority of the Bahamas may be exercised on behalf of Her Majesty by the Governor General, either directly or through officers subordinate to him.
Yes. Now, let's stop right there a moment. The Bahamian people need to understand what the Constitution is saying. Her Majesty the Queen. All right? And the thing is, it's exercised through the office of Governor General, who represents Her Majesty the Queen in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And he can give certain responsibilities to persons who are subordinate to him under his direction. That is very, very important for people to understand. It didn't say the prime minister. It didn't say the cabinet. It says Her Majesty the Queen. And I think sometimes we get things all mixed up because people are so politically polarized. They're hearing statements from political personalities. You're not sure whether the personality is speaking as a representative of the House of Assembly, or if the person in the Senate, or the person is a minister, or the person is speaking from a party point of view or personal point of view. Those things are never made clear. You just let them shoot them out off. And then you got to figure out now, is he speaking as a minister of the government? Is he speaking in the office of leader of the party, if the particular personality is leader of the party? See, these are the things that are so confusing to the average person. They just hear something said by a particular individual, and they just run with it as it's gospel. And this is where the Bahamian people get all mixed up. Now, we have already lost 50 years. We're in our 51st year right now. And I think it is time that we begin to look seriously at what the Constitution says and see whether you have a national government that is functioning constitutionally. Because the document as we have right now, it's an excellent document. But the point is, if you have personalities in the government of the Bahamas who do not recognize the Constitution, I could tell you of a particular personality high up in the government. You put the Constitution in front of that particular individual, he would be lost. Never referred to it, never used it. But yet, this person had a very senior cabinet position. What kind of nonsense is this?
So are you suggesting then that all parliamentarians, the same way we are advocating for the Constitution to be taught within the schools and made available to the masses, are you suggesting then that a part or a prerequisite for becoming a member of parliament is they have to know the Constitution? Should they be required to take a test, or what are your thoughts?
I'll go to constitutionally Article 54.1, which gives you the purpose of the parliamentarian. The point is, we have been sending people to the House of Assembly who don't know the Constitution, never understood it, never read it, never studied it, but yet they're making laws. How do you expect the country to function properly with personalities who don't even know what the hell they're talking about? They're just speaking off the top of their head, writing things down that are not constitutionally sound. You know how many laws have been passed in that House of Assembly, went to the Senate, went to the Governor General, signed into law, and those laws were never constitutionally sound? Do you know that? I'm going to get one of these days. Well, we got one, the Bahamas Nationality Act. It is still a bill. It was never a law. Even though they passed it in the House, they put it in the Senate, went to the Governor General, signed it. All of that is unconstitutional. Because you cannot have a statute law to change constitutional law. It cannot happen. And if they did it, and they did it, been doing it for the last 50 years plus, it still is unconstitutional. The Constitution has not changed. The Constitution specifically, and you really go to 63, you're going to see what I'm talking about. The Constitution specifically outlines what's supposed to be done if there are to be any changes with constitutional law. So if the authorities are not going by that, whatever they do is null and void. Article 2 of your Constitution. Because the Constitution said any other law, whether it's UN law, regional law, statute law, any kind of law out there, but they say they're going by. Even these agreements they sign and all kind of crappy things in them. But the Bahamian people don't even see it. They don't know nothing about it. But yet you got people signing all this, putting their name to it and say they signed on behalf of the Bahamian people. And the Bahamian people don't know a thing about what they're signing. And they don't know because they themselves don't know the Constitution. That's why we all mixed up. Anything that is signed, Ms. Malcolm, should have the backing and authority of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of America. That's supreme, not the government. The government is not supreme. The office of Prime Minister is there, but the personality in the office is not supreme. The personality in the ministerial positions are not supreme. They have a specific obligation to follow the Constitution of the Commonwealth of America. Remember, you had played the tape about the Constitution, and it puts restraints on the government of the Bahamas,
So we
or
have a
any
question.
government for that matter.
We have a question coming in on Facebook. It says, even though the Constitution protects Bahamians when it comes to their rights, why does it seem the government can overpower the Bahamians? In other words, the Bahamians select parties to run the laws of the Bahamas, but once they're in power, in the power seat, Bahamians are not needed anymore. How do you
No, I
respond?
think that the person is way off. You see, that's the problem. And in a sense, you can't blame them, for thinking like that. But it's twisted thinking, Ms. Malcolm. The point is this. See, that's why I always go to Article 54.1. And there are different articles in the Constitution. The point is that the people who gave the power to these individuals can take it back. That's point number one. Point number two, the electorate, or as in the Constitution says, electors, are to keep tabs on their parliamentarians, one, and the government of the Bahamas, two. There's a difference between Parliament, because the government is supposed to report to Parliament. But now you got a mix-up thing, and there you got 32 on one side, 7 on the other side, and all 32 of them got some government position. And so they look at themselves as being a part of the government of the Bahamas, and they're forgetting their job, one, to their constituents, and two, to correct the government of the Bahamas when they step out of line. That's what Parliament is supposed to be doing. But if the Parliament is all mixed up, the government is all mixed up, what do you think is going to happen? That's why we have a mixed-up situation. So I can understand the person who sent the text would be thinking like that. You have not lost anything. The Constitution is still there. The question is, are we prepared to put the kind of pressure on those who we sent there to get them to do better? There's no point sitting back and keep complaining all the time when the power is in your hand to do something about it.
So let's look at 63, because time is going very, very quickly. It's almost 3 o'clock already. And I don't want another show to go by that we haven't looked at this. Okay, so let's look at 63. This is the article that you've been saying now for a couple of weeks that you wanted to examine more closely.
Yes, ma'am.
63.1 says, a bill shall not become law until the Governor General has assembled thereto in Her Majesty's name and on Her Majesty's behalf, and assigned it in token of such assent. That's 63.1. 63.2 says, subject to the provisions of Article 60 and 61 of this Constitution, a bill shall be presented to the Governor General for assent if, and shall not be so presented unless it has been passed by both houses, either without amendment or with such amendments only as are agreed to by both houses. 63.3 Any bill to which Article 54(2) or 3 of this Constitution applies shall be presented to the Governor General, endorsed with certificates of the President of the Senate and the Speaker that it has been passed by requisite majorities in accordance with whichever of these paragraphs applies to the bill, and with a certificate of parliamentary registrar that it has been approved by the majority of the elections voting on the bill.
Stop right there. You have three specific things that must be done.
Mm-hmm.
One, you have a requisite majority through the House of Assembly. I think it's 3/4, if I'm not mistaken. Number two, it said passed by both houses. That's the lower house, the House of Assembly, and the upper house of Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, it now goes to what? The electors. And you have certification, President of the Senate, Speaker of the House, the parliamentary registrar. That's to deal with those articles dealing with citizenship and those articles that are entrenched in your Constitution, which cannot be changed any other way except those three specific things are dealt with. The Bahamas Nationality Act, which is a fraud, which is only a bill, is not a legal document because it doesn't meet the qualifications of Article 63. It never did. It never went, let the parliamentary registrar produce the certificate, which he doesn't even have, because there was never, the bill went to the electors for their certification, for their approval. That's where the governor of the Bahamas has gone wrong on that particular piece of legislation. It is still a bill. It's not law. But yet they're parading it off as if it is law. Your Constitution says three specific steps that must be taken when it comes to changing any of those entrenched provisions in your Constitution. Now, we know we had, I think it's 2 referendums. Well, one was called something else under Christie. And then, of course, under Mr. Ingram, they had a referendum. The people spoke. And that was the will of the people. And then you got some personalities outside the country and inside the country. So the people didn't know what they were doing. The Bahamas Nationality Act never, ever went. And there's no certificate that the parliamentary registrar could present to prove that it did. And this is
Are you 100% sure of that, Professor?
If I'm 100% sure?
Yeah.
Ms. Malcolm, when I come on this radio and I speak, when it comes to the Constitution, I know what I'm talking about. You tell them if I'm not saying the right thing, tell them challenge me right now. Tell them challenge me right now, on air. If they think there's man, they think there's woman, come and challenge me right now. You'll never hear a peep squeak from them because there's no hardcore evidence to prove it. It never ever went to the electors. And your Constitution has 3 specific steps that must be followed. And the governor of the Bahamas has not done what the Constitution says. You got to wake up and learn these things, man. Now, I don't have a problem you asking if I'm sure. I ain't got no problem with that. But the point is, not only Professor MacArthur Walter Thompson ought to be sure. No, Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. Let me get it right. You got to call all those names. You got some others out there got similar names, and I ain't want to get mixed up with them. But the point is, that's why I put it that way. All the names my grandpa gave me, my grandaunt gave me. Huh? But let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. The government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is naturalizing people in this country that's unconstitutional. You cannot do that legally according to constitutional law.
But yet it's happening all the
Yes,
time.
it's happening. Yes, it's happening all the time. That doesn't make it right. You could be stealing all your life. Does that make it right?
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm not suggesting that it's right, but it is happening.
No,
So-
I'm not disputing that it's not happening.
Right.
And that's why I need the Bahamian people. You see, go back to Article 24.1. It takes the collective will of the Bahamian people to put pressure on the government of the Bahamas to stop the crap. Now, you can do that any number of ways that are available to you. But if you sit back and allow them to keep doing the nonsense and foolishness they're doing today, December 11, 2023, and you sit back and do nothing about it, then what's going to happen to this country? We're on a dangerous, slippery slope. I know in my own area, all we see is a bunch of strange males. They're not Bahamians. I know Bahamian because I'm a Bahamian. Walking through and through the community. They don't belong here, Miss Malcolm. They speak a different language. And they are bold and presumptuous. My sister told me the other day she saw 6, 7, 8 of them walking through the community. The point is we have too many strangers, too many foreigners, too many aliens, too many outsiders in our borders now. And they are bold and presumptuous. They have no problem talking that other language right in your face. And I've heard reports from people who have told me how they react toward Bahamians. What are we going to do about that? Are we going to wait until something untoward of a massive nature happen before we realize we have a problem? This is a real problem that has national implications. Our very national security is not being protected. So the thing is, you have the government itself violating the Constitution. So when the government of the Bahamas violates the Constitution, you got a serious problem. It's going to take the Bahamian people, Article 24.1, to correct it. And we got to move quickly. We got to move fast to stop the government of the Bahamas from giving out these pieces of paper, what they call citizenship papers, because that's all is a piece of paper. But it is not constitutionally sound. Like I said, they say Professor Thompson ain't sure. Come. Bring your evidence, bring your proof. Because I will not say that on a live radio if I didn't have the proof. When it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I take it very seriously. I will always agree with the Constitution. That's what I do as a faithful Bahamian citizen. Now, some others might disagree. They have a right to disagree. I ain't got no problem with that. Because the Constitution allows for people to have their views. So when I hear people talking foolishness and nonsense, I just smile. And with a lot of them, they don't know any better. So when the fella told me what he felt I should be doing, I just smile at that. But I gave him a challenge. 2 weeks, 3 weeks has passed. And he ain't called back yet. But see, you can't do that. You got to take this thing seriously. And we need people to take the Constitution seriously. But Ms. Malcolm, we got to expound more on this when we come back from the break.
Yeah, let's take this break. And when we come back, we're going to continue this masterclass on the Constitution of the Bahamas with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We'll be back after this.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on this masterclass Monday, where we look at the Constitution of the Bahamas. So, how do you get to be a part of this conversation? That's easy enough. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. You can call or message us on that number. We're coming to you live on Cable Bahamas, channel 974, also streaming live to the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages on Facebook. Please like and share the show if you haven't already done so. You can find us on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, no spaces in between. And last but by no means least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio from throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and around the world. So Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is back at the desk, and this and every Monday, God willing, God spare life, we discuss the Constitution of the Bahamas. And that's what we're in the middle of right now. I think it would be beneficial once again for us to get our audience to have a full understanding of what a constitution is and why it is important to a nation to have a good, strong constitution that all stakeholders respect and abide by. Here now, once again, is a video called The Constitution Made Simple.
Okay, so before we talk about what a constitution is, let's first explain why we need one. Let's start by looking at the fundamental things we all need as human beings. These are a voice in the decisions that affect our lives, material well-being such as food, shelter, and education, security and protection from violence or discrimination, and recognition and respect as individuals and communities. To help meet these needs, people create governments and delegate powers to them to exercise for the common good of society. The problem, though, is that while governments need powers to perform their functions, history tells us again and again that power without limits can lead to corruption, dictatorship, and oppression. Free, fair, and regular elections might help ensure good government. They allow people to select who they want in power and, over time, to vote out those who perform badly. But we also need some basic rules to control how that power is used, so that those who win elections still have to respect your rights and promote your interests, rather than using power for their own benefit. Just as in a game of football, there have to be rules and a referee. So in a democracy, there must be rules by which all the players are bound. These rules are provided in a constitution. The constitution is a law, but it's not just an ordinary law. A constitution is a supreme law that establishes, organizes, and empowers the government and determines how other laws are made and implemented. It is also more difficult to change than ordinary laws, so that those in power cannot make up the rules as they go along. Football wouldn't be fair if the winning team could change the rules, and democracy isn't fair if those in power can just change the constitution according to their own whim. The Constitution harnesses the energy and power of the state, ensuring that the people control the reins. This explains why when people are trying to establish a new, fairer society, one of the first things they do is write a new constitution. This is what Norway did in 1814, India in 1950, South Africa in 1996, and Colombia in 1991. Indeed, nearly all countries in the world have a constitution to establish rules for using power. On the other hand, we've seen that when a democratic government is illegally overthrown, one of the first things the coup leaders do is set their sights on destroying the constitution. They don't want any inconvenient limits on their ability to rule by force. So the constitution both organizes and constrains power. Now, how does it do that? Well, there are several ways. One way is to divide power between different political institutions. For example, sharing functions between a president and a prime minister, or between two houses of a legislature, or between different levels of government, the national level, the regional, state or provincial level, and the local level. A constitution defines the powers of these institutions and regulates the relationship between them. It also ensures that power is rotated. One year we may vote for one candidate or party, but after a few years, their time will be up, and we will have the chance to choose someone else. This means that no one person, party, or institution can accumulate too much power or stay in power too long. It is important to maintain a strict separation between the political institutions on the one hand, such as the elected parliament and government, and on the other hand, the permanent neutral institutions of the state, such as the courts, the military, the police, and the civil service. Constitutions also constrain power by saying what governments must and must not do. For example, a set of constitutional rights may specify that you can't be tortured, that you can't be imprisoned without due cause, and that your freedom of expression can't be infringed. Other provisions may direct the government to provide for basic human needs, such as education, healthcare, sanitation, or housing. Constitutions don't only protect the majority. There may be special provisions for minorities and marginalized groups, for their security, their participation in government, and protections for their identity and culture. Most constitutions also have a nation-building function. They seek to embody national unity and to reflect and declare the identity of the nation and its people. The Constitution announces to citizens, to the government itself, and to the outside world what the nation is, what it stands for, where it has come from, and what its vision for the future might be. A good constitution is just one step along the road to a peaceful, prosperous, and democratic society, but it is a fundamental one. By setting down the rules by which the state should be governed, a good constitution helps to ensure that the democratic aspirations of a people become and remain a reality.
All right, Professor. Every time I play that video, I think, boy, oh boy, oh boy.
It's very deep.
We have fallen
And
short.
we have fallen short badly. And like I said, when you look at Article 63, I don't think you finished reading it yet because I did ask you to. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The point is, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is supreme, not the government of the Bahamas, not the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, not a cabinet minister. These are hardcore facts we need to understand. The Constitution is to govern, to point out to the government what they must do and what they must not do. The gentleman said that very clearly. And if we started off for the people having a voice, every citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, well, let me just change that a bit. I got to get to the Constitution there. Every person in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That would include the citizens now, but it says every person because you got some people here who are not citizens. They have a right to those constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges. The point is that we have a government that is naturalizing people contrary to the Constitution on a flawed document, and whoever advised the Governor General at that time advised them incorrectly. The Governor General is at fault.
I have
The
a question
Senate is
that's
at fault.
coming in. I have a question
Yes.
that's coming in via Facebook from one Eldridge Gardner who asks, so once a document is not constitutionally sound, it's not legal at all? So what will
That's correct.
happen with illegal passports that are in the country right now?
That's a good point that the text brought up. They're all illegal. They have no validity. See, not because the Minister of Immigration puts his signature on a piece of paper and say he's claiming that this particular personality or a group of individuals are citizens. Constitutionally, they are not. See, that's why the gentleman said it puts restraints on a government because, see, it's not no ordinary law. That's what I love about this document. It's a wonderful document. But we must not be in ignorance of what it says. So when the government steps out of line, the MP steps out of line, no, sir. You're not constitutionally correct. You're not constitutionally sound. And I've heard all kinds of statements coming from the office of Prime Minister, which are not constitutionally sound. In fact, our office is getting mixed up in all kinds of other people's business, even with them fellas down in Venezuela and Guyana. The point is, the government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to who? The people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to do
So
what?
are you suggesting then
interest.
that we shouldn't be a part of the global village or the regional village to address matters that may be of importance to us, even though it's not contained in the Constitution? Is that what you're suggesting?
Let me put it to you this way. Say I go into Article 2.
Mm-hmm.
Article 2 of your Constitution says, this Constitution is the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Right.
The government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to who? The Bahamian people. Not the people outside in them other places. The Bahamian people. That's why it says the supreme law where? In the Bahamas. That's to govern the Bahamian people. What we do here is what is important. You can't put them other fellas out there. See, all of them have their supreme law, you know. And that's what we fail to understand. Any other law, UN law, US law, British law, all them other funny things out there, that people have signed on to all these strange agreements where people sit at the table and say, I can put my signature on it. I signed on behalf of the Bahamian people. But we don't know nothing about these things.
I hear you, Professor, but we don't live in a vacuum. We do live in a world where more and more the world is becoming smaller and smaller because of these agreements that you're talking about. And I hear you, and I understand that just because you sign off on an agreement doesn't mean that it is in agreement with our Constitution, and our Constitution must prevail. However, if let's say we here in the Bahamas, our nearest neighbor, apart from the United States, is the Turks and Caicos Islands. So just hypothetically speaking, let's say the Turks and Caicos Islands leadership decided one day, well, you know, the Bahamas was once a part of us, so we want to reclaim our land. We're going to challenge the Bahamas to take our land back. Would we not want foreign entities to step in and say, no, we're going to help defend the Bahamas because the Bahamas is a sovereign nation and we're not just going to stand by and allow anybody to run over it? And do we not as a country, even though our Constitution is very, very clear on the fact that we're supposed to be looking out for Bahamians first, but are we as a member of the global community not also responsible for at least lending our support in some way or the other when we see a conflict going on that could easily happen to us in the future?
Let me put it to you this way. The government of the Bahamas is to operate on what? Law, right?
Right.
Well, that's what the Constitution says.
Mm-hmm.
The government of the Bahamas would be stupid and foolish to be operating in the best interests of some other people and leave the interests of the Bahamian people undone.
Mm.
I am simply saying, I'm not saying we shouldn't have arrangements with other nations and other people, because we're all on the same planet. But when it gets to the point where the government is so gung-ho on other people's interests. So I heard the man talking about Venezuela and Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
How we get up in them people's business? Huh? That's what I want to find out. Where is the constitutional authority for him? And the Defense Force man say he's waiting for direction from the Prime Minister. Right? And he is giving directions to the head of the Defense Force. Now, see, the way how Defense Force operate, the difficulty is not in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, that could be a little problem.
Okay.
But let me deal with in the Constitution, the Office of Commissioner of Police. He's not supposed to be taking any direction from the Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
It's an independent, autonomous office. He has that authority in his hand. Now, the personality sitting in there may not even act on it. Then what? The government just comes in and runs over you. That's what happens. See, any time when the government makes a decision, it should be constitutionally sound. Not what runs through his head. Somebody give him a funny idea, and he decides, I can run with that. But he never checks the Constitution to see if this, what the government is doing, is it constitutionally sound? Is it based on the Constitution? Because Article 2 says any other law, UN law, US law, British law, statute law. And you notice what the gentleman said about the Constitution, about the different levels of government? There's nothing in our Constitution that talks about any local government. Now, they pass a statute law, say they can give local government to a minority of the Bahamian people. Is that constitutionally sound? See, anytime when the government does something, I ask that question over and over again. Are you constitutionally sound? Yes or no? If you're not constitutionally sound, it's null and void, right off the top. I don't have to go any further with that, because it says to the extent of the inconsistency, it is null and void, even though it may have been signed by the Governor General, like the Bahamas Nationality Act. And it's interesting, we started with that one. I came across that because someone pointed out to me. I didn't even know how awkward it was until I started to go into it step by step by step, as we've been doing on the shows, and proving from the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, not from gossip, not from rumor, not what somebody say, what the Constitution says. It doesn't line up with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And when it comes to nationalizing people, that's only for citizens of the United Kingdom and colonies. Your Constitution is very specific about that. And that ended July of 1974. But now they got these fellas naturalizing people from this place and that place and the next place. In order for you to do that, you have to have a referendum. You have to go back to the Bahamian people, because naturalization is now null and void. But we sit back and we let the government run on with this crap for 50 years. So they're naturalizing left, right, and center. The only way you can stop them is to take appropriate action that is constitutionally sound, constitutionally based. See, every time when you take action, make sure you got the Constitution with you. And there are things we can do about it. Don't sit back and say, woe is me. Oh, we can't do nothing about it. Like they'll tell you, nothing we could do. We got to wait for 5 years.
We have a question coming in on Facebook. It says, does the Cabinet, the Senate, and the Prime Minister have constitutionally sound job descriptions?
Say that again. Let me make sure I hear what the person is asking.
Does the Cabinet, the Senate, and the Prime Minister have constitutionally sound job descriptions?
Let me answer it this way, because I have to give the person a constitutional answer. All right?
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister is the one who is the head of the government. The Constitution says the Prime Minister can have X number of persons as ministers in that cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Not them fellows who say they're state minister. That's nonsense and foolishness. There's no such thing as state minister in the Constitution. So let's get that straight. And you have a minimum amount of ministers, but no maximum. So now you look at the cabinet right now, it has plenty of ministers in it. Now, the prime minister, he can decide if he wants 3 or 4 ministries under his belt, he can do it. That's not unconstitutional. I'm not saying it's the best decision to make, but I have to go along with him if he decides he wants social services and national insurance and Ministry of Works and whatever he decides he wants to put under his authority, and he's the minister for them, in addition to being prime minister, he can do it. Now, maybe we need to look at that for possible changes down the road. I'm just putting that suggestion out there. The point is that, like I'm saying, that he would be constitutionally sound in giving responsibility to ministers. He can decide how he wants to set it up. He could make up this ministry, that ministry, and there is no maximum number. And so what you have right now is the parliament is so off that just about everybody in there, they got some not ministerial position, but they have a government functioning job. Chairman of one board, chairman of this, chairman of that, senator this, senator that, or whatever. So I have to answer the question as it is in the Constitution. I must always have a constitutional answer for a question you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I will answer that now. If I understand what the text is saying, if I'm saying the wrong thing, he could probably text it over again. But I see. Here's how I look at it. If you ask me a constitutional question and I don't have the answer for it, I'll tell you right off the top, I don't have the answer for that. I have to go and check it.
Mm-hmm.
But a question like that about the powers, well, then I got to go by what the Constitution say. So if he decides he wants to give this minister 2 or 3 positions, that's constitutionally sound. It mightn't be the best thing for the country, but that's just the way it is.
But the thing is, the question was specific as it relates to job descriptions, whether or not these positions hold constitutionally sound job descriptions. But I don't even know if their job descriptions are public knowledge. Are they?
That's a good point that you raised there. No, we don't know. See, this is where statute law comes in. The Constitution says ministers, but it doesn't spell out except for Minister of Finance and Attorney General and Prime Minister. Okay? Now, those 3 are spelled out specifically in the Constitution. But now the fellow who's going to be social services, we're not even sure how that's supposed to be set up. But you should have legislation. The Constitution gives the supreme law, then you have statute regulations which would point out how those ministries should function. Now you got to make sure he don't go unconstitutional. All right? So there should be statute regulations that say, well, how the Ministry of Social Services should function, because it doesn't spell it out in the Constitution. In fact, it just says Prime Minister, 1, Attorney General, that's a peculiar one. I got to deal with that one. And then also our Minister of Finance. And you will note well that in our system here, the person in the office of Prime Minister grabs the whole Minister of Finance. You can't say he's unconstitutional. He can do that. It may not be the best thing, but that's the way it is. So the job description, the Constitution doesn't specifically speaks to it. It says ministers, and you have a minimum number, but not a maximum number. So now, when people talk about this gushy cabinet, big cabinet, you got plenty of ministers in it. The Prime Minister is constitutionally sound. It will cost a lot of money to the Bahamian taxpayer. So, like I said, there's some things we need to look at and perhaps look at the possibility of making some constitutional changes in this country. It hasn't been changed in 50 years, except where the government of the Bahamas was dealing with the Office of Attorney General, and they made a comfortable position for somebody to be, quote unquote, Director of Public Prosecutions. And Director of Public Prosecutions is not independent of the Attorney General. Let me make that very clear, because some false information is going out there, say the Director of Public Prosecutions is independent. Check your Constitution. Even the amendment that was made by the House of Assembly and by the Senate and passed by the Governor General, which was constitutionally sound, I got no problem with that. But you don't see the word independent Director of Public Prosecutions. In fact,
Yes.
Oh.
We actually have a caller on the line.
Okay,
Caller, welcome to GPS. Hello, caller.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon. Excellent show.
Thank you.
I've been trying to catch you on a Monday afternoon for some time. This conversation with Professor Thompson is so important because not only do the people not know what's in the Constitution, the politicians don't seem to know either.
yes.
Thank God that Christie and Ingram were lawyers. And so we did have 2 referenda under their watch because they understood they could not just make a law that was not sanctioned by 50 plus 1% of the voters. And so at least they knew that. I kept telling them, you know, they don't leave that conversation alone. We could always have 3-0 because the Bahamian people are not interested in what I saw yesterday, the celebration of human rights. But these are not ordinary human rights that these people are talking about. These are sexual rights, which is unconstitutional. In our Constitution, we only recognize males and females, not transgender and the other 50-something colors of the rainbow. Nor are the Bahamian people interested in being taken down that run. And so I wanted to ask Professor Thompson. Professor Thompson,
Yeah,
I saw on Google, there's a whole bunch of advertising being paid for by the Bahamian people through the Ministry of Tourism that is suggesting that we are a gay destination or LGBTQ friendly destination. I would like to take them to court on this matter because we did not agree to that in the referendum. Every time they came with it, I don't care what they call it, I don't care what color they painted it. The Bahamian people said, hell no. So not only do we have advertising being paid for by our money that's suggesting we are a gay destination, the entire Junkanoo this year will be insulting to many families as these very gay-looking young men come gyrating in front of the parade.
Yes.
I think it's going to finally be canceled in the Bahamas. Junkanoo will probably no longer be our traditional cultural expression if they go down that line. I will listen. Thank you so much, Brother Thompson.
Yeah, thank you, caller. I appreciate that. I haven't seen what you saw, but I have no doubt to discredit what you just said. See, the government of the Bahamas, see the advertising, they didn't check the Constitution because the Constitution in its preamble, very specific, very clear as to what the Bahamas ought to be. There are some things we cannot accept. We have to tell these strange people that's contrary to our Constitution. That's not our standard. We believe in male and female. That's in the Constitution. Okay? When it talks about man and woman, even though I will say again, because of all this crappy stuff that the caller just mentioned, we're going to have to define in our Constitution what man is, what woman is, what child is, what boy is, what girl is. You got some mixed up people out there talking foolishness and nonsense and bringing it in here, like the personality in the club the other day. Huh? I'm saying to you, the government of the Bahamas, you're taking our advertising money, you're taking the taxpayers' money and doing crap with it. You didn't get any consent from us, but you take it upon yourself to go contrary to the Constitution, which says we are a nation founded on Christian values and the rule of law. Christian principles, godly principles, Holy Bible principles. So you have to tell these funny people, we cannot accept that. It's not a part of our psyche. It's not a part of our culture. It's not a part of our system. But we in this country, well, let me say the government of the Bahamas sits back and allows any kind of crappy foolishness to come in here, and it just is allowed to happen. And that's why the Bahamian people have to rise up and stand. I agree with the court action. I will join Lady Russell in that. But I'm saying to you, you have to take action against the government of the Bahamas. That's what you have to do. And there are some specific, clearly defined things you can do which are constitutionally sound. And court action is just one. There's some other things we can do to stop the government from doing foolishness. Don't talk no nonsense about waiting for no 5 years. You know what they damage the government could do in 5 years? And we just sit back and allow them to throw all kind of crap on us? We got to get serious, Bahamians. And I'm happy the caller mentioned that to me. I am delighted, and I'll get more information on it. But the point is, we are a nation that's going down. We're not standing up for godly values. We're not standing up for Christian values on which we were founded, spiritual values. These are things we have to look at, because the government of the Bahamas is doing things that are not constitutionally sound. In this case, the Ministry of Tourism, which is a part of the ministry, and people advertising, doing all kind of nonsense. So we have to correct these things that are happening. And Bahamians, we got to move quickly. We only have a limited period of time to do it. Otherwise, we might even end up losing our country and become something else. Then that's a real problem.
We have to take a break.
Yeah, I heard the music.
Way past our break time, yeah. So let's take this break. When we come back, if you have a question, please call in, because when we come back, we'll only have about, less than 20 minutes left on the show. So don't wait till the last 5 minutes to call. If you have a question, let's get it in. All right? So stay with us. Yeah, stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday, and we're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas. And so, one more time, let me throw out the information as to how you can get in on the show. We've only got about 17 minutes left, even less if we play our fourth break. So the telephone numbers to call are 3260271. That's 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please, it's not too late. Like and share the show. We're also coming to you on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, no spaces in between, and that's where you'll find us there on Rumble. And you can check us out on Cable Bahamas channel 974, or you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and watch the program at your leisure, because the app is with you 24/7, and you'll be able to check us out there. Last but not least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. I appreciate all of you. And so welcome to our audience from the Providence, Grand Bahama, across the country and around the world. Professor, we only have about 16 minutes left in the show, and that's not even counting our final break if we do get to it. I want to read a comment coming in from one of our Facebook viewers. It says, other than an injunction to stop the online insult being paid for via the Ministry of Tourism, what action can we take to stop the planned indecent assault on our sensibilities at Junkanoo on December 26, 2023?
That's an interesting question. In fact, you mentioned about an injunction. That is one way you can act on that. In fact, let me put it this way. You see, I'm trying to get the people to take action. You've been listening to these shows. Ms. Malcolm might know how long. I guess it's maybe more than a year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And I am a person like this. You're getting all this valuable information explained to you by one who is qualified and knows constitutional law, lock, stock, and barrel. And that's why I said when Ms. Malcolm asked if I'm sure, I'm glad she asked me if I'm sure. When I come on this radio station to talk about the Constitution, if I don't know a constitutional answer, Professor Thompson can tell you, listen, I don't know the answer to that. I can go and check it out, and then I could give you a constitutional answer. Yes, you can take an injunction, but we need organization. We need structure. And I'm going to give out my number, Ms. Malcolm, if I may.
Yes.
465-5786. And I'm going to ask people, call me, not now, but after the show. And I want to get your name and number and the constituency you in by sending the email. Send me an email. All of you out there, you do emails all the time. Sidney, SIDNEY, M, that's for MacArthur now. Let's put the M, Thompson, at hotmail.com. Sidney M. Thompson at hotmail.com. Put your name, your contact number, your constituency where you live. Damon, this is important. Don't just sit back and do nothing. Now, another thing, the injunction, yes, you can deal with that. And also, like I said, you have to be organized now because, see, action has to be taken. That's a court action you have to take. And you got to be constitutionally sound in order to win. I'm involved in another court action, a very serious one, that organized to take action against those who are violating the Constitution. Anytime it comes to the Constitution, you have my attention. But we have to do it and do it properly. You have to be well organized. You have to get your facts. And so when I come on the radio station and I speak, I'm factually sound. Now, those who want to challenge it, you could challenge it. If you think Article 63.1 has been followed, and Ms. Malcolm said she didn't finish it, bring the evidence. I said the parliamentary registrar ain't got no evidence of any referendum to the Bahamian people on the Bahamas Nationality Act. If you got the evidence, bring the proof. I'll give them till next week. I give the government until next week. Next week, Monday, I'll be here by the grace of God. Because you don't need no more than a week. You got no time to waste. Bring your proof or shut your mouth up and stay in the dark. Now, when people stay in the dark, you know what they do. Scripture tells you what happens. The point is we need to take action, Bahamians. I am so delighted the caller called in about that funny stuff what the Ministry of Tourism is doing. We have to take legal action against them. That's one course of action, just one out of several things you could do with that same Ministry of Education. Now, coming to the Junkanoo thing, because the texter asks about that, do not attend. Do not attend the Junkanoo. Cancel your tickets for the crap they're putting out there. You want to see a bunch of sissies dancing in the street? That's
Professor, you know you're talking to ASF, right? You know Bahamians ain't boycott no Junkanoo.
You boycott something that is not Junkanoo. That's not Junkanoo. That's something else. See, that's deception right there. They camouflage it and bring their crap in with it, and then you're hooked. And you think you're dealing with Junkanoo. You're not dealing with Junkanoo. Not the Junkanoo I know about, which was clean and decent. Now you have some strange people coming in there doing some funny things. Is that what you want? You want a situation where you don't know who's man and who's woman? Is that what the nation is becoming now? I remember when they first started the unisex thing, and I say, no, that's a big problem right there. But we did nothing about it. Man and woman wearing the same kind of clothes. You ain't sure whether that's man or whether that's a woman, whether that's a boy or whether that's a girl. Now it's so escalated now. All kind of crappy things happening. And I got one great grandniece there, a beautiful child. And I love that child. And she got to grow up in an environment with all these funny things happening. But as long as I'm above the ground, I can make sure she's protected. But the point is, we have to take action, Bahamians. Do not allow the Ministry of Tourism taking our taxpayers' money and doing foolishness with it. Do not allow the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas doing foolishness with this thing about the immigration thing. It's a big problem in this country, citizenship issue. And the Minister of Immigration hasn't said anything. Just talked about a couple of little children who were lost or get left behind deliberately by some irresponsible parents. He has not yet done anything. I don't blame him. His own boss say they did nothing wrong. So that should tell you something. And the cabinet supposed to be the immigration board. Well, the whole cabinet is wrong. Since they have this, what they call collective decision, fine. You collective, but you're collectively wrong. You're not constitutionally sound. And that's what I look at. Are you constitutionally sound? Yes or no? If you're not fitting according to Article 2 of the Constitution, which is the supreme law, and you ain't going to change that no time soon, because you need a referendum to change that, it is null and void.
Okay.
So we got to wake up.
Let's try to finish off 63 with the last couple minutes we have, because there's only one piece left on that 63.4, which says when a bill is presented to the Governor General for assent, he shall signify that he assents or that he withholds assent. That's the last part of it.
Yes, he can do that, but the unfortunate thing is, you know, I don't know who's advising the Governor General.
The Prime Minister.
The point is, the Governor General ought to know law too. Whether the Prime Minister is giving him sound advice or not. Because he could say, I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to do that because that's not according to law.
But, you know, a lot of people look at that position, no disrespect to the Governor General.
Yes.
But a lot of people look at that position, it's just a rubber stamp position. That's just, you know.
Yes, I hear that. But when I look at the Constitution, I will beg to differ, although they have a right to that view. I'm not going to knock them for that. That's how they think. But see, the way how the office has been used over these many years doesn't make it right. See the position they call Deputy Prime Minister? You think that's right too? That's an unconstitutional office. But the man collecting all kind of money and parading around here talking about he's Deputy Prime Minister. And then them other fellas another fella came along and decided, I can make state ministers. And all of them getting paid off the public treasury. See, not because it was done in the past means it is right today. It was always wrong. The Constitution is always right. And that's what we need to understand. Do not take the word of a minister or a prime minister when they are not constitutionally sound. Article 2 of your Constitution says that. Because we have too many inconsistencies in the laws that have been passed in that same House of Assembly, went to the Senate. They say Senate's a rubber stamp too. But you got some greenhorns in there who have no experience. Just say they use them, the Senate, as getting their feet wet to go to the lower house, which is foolishness and nonsense. It should have mature, well-experienced citizens of this country. Go it right back to the lower house. Tell them go fix it. We don't have that.
We have
And that's
to.
the problem.
We have to take a break. Let's take our final break, and then we're going to wrap it up on the other side of it. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Longevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Longevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, pinch, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Longevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
$99.5.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We've got less than 2 minutes left in the show. I see where someone is online asking where they can find the Constitution of the Bahamas document online. Simple. Google the Constitution of the Bahamas, and it'll pop up. And you'll be able to click onto it and find it there. That's where I found it. It is on the government, the official government website, bahamas.gov.bs, but you got to dig for it there. So the simplest thing is just to Google it, and it will pop up in your options, and then you can select it there. Patricia says, we've got less than a minute to go. Patricia says, the office of the spouse of the prime minister is another unconstitutional position being paid for by the Bahamian people without national consent. Only elected members of Parliament of Assembly may speak on behalf of the Bahamian people. All right, Professor, last word, 30 seconds. You want to throw out your number again for those who
I really have to give out this number again, 465-5786, 465-5786. Please also send me an email, Sidney M, Sidney M THOMPSON, Thompson, at hotmail.com. Send your phone address, your name, and your constituency. Please work on it today. Send it out to me so I could get you people organized so we could deal with these issues.
All right, gotta go. 4 o'clock. Professor Thompson, thanks as always for being a part of the show today. God willing, I'll see you next week, Monday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tomorrow we have another great show planned for you. Please, please, please tune in. We're going to be talking a little political chess games tomorrow. So that should be a very interesting show. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good afternoon, everybody. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.